Dear learners, before starting our journey, let us understand the learning outcomes of this lesson. By end of this session, you will be able to understand the life history of F.W. Taylor, to know the contribution of F.W. Taylor, to know the meaning of scientific management, to describe the principles of scientific management, and to explain the techniques of scientific management. Dear learners, before learning the meaning of scientific management, I explain here about F.W. Taylor. Now see this picture. Frederick Winslow Taylor was born in March 20, 1856 in Philadelphia, USA. He was an American mechanical engineer. He started his career as a mechanic and rose to the position of chief engineer in Bethlehem Steel Company, USA. During his career of 26 years, he experimented with his ideas and made significant contribution to the management theory. Dear learners, now I will explain here contribution of F.W. Taylor. Taylor gave a concrete shape to the theory of scientific management. He was the first one to emphasize the importance of scientific approach managing an enterprise instead of hit and trial method. Taylor's major contribution was his two important books, Shop Management and Principles of Scientific Management, which were published in 1903 and 1911 respectively. For his contributions, he is known as the father of scientific management. I hope, as explained above, you are very well aware about F.W. Taylor. Am I right? Okay, nice student. Now, before learning principles and techniques of scientific management, I will explain here first the meaning of scientific management. Scientific management means knowing exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. In other words, it means application of scientific tools, methods and train employee in order to increase the output. Now, I will explain here principles of scientific management developed by F.W. Taylor in details one by one. See this picture. It is science, not rule of thumb. According to this principle, F.W. Taylor suggested that there should be scientific study and analysis of each element of a job in order to replace the old rule of thumb approach or hit and trial method. According to Taylor, even a small production activity like loading peaks of iron into boxcars can be scientifically planned and managed. This can result in great saving of human energy as well as wastage of time and materials. Now, look at this picture. I will explain here next principle of scientific management. It is harmony, not discord. According to this principle, F.W. Taylor said that factory system of production implies that managers serve as a linking between the owners and the workers. Since they are the managers, they have the mandate to get work done from the workers. It is always possibility of a kind of class conflict between the managers and workers. Taylor recognized that this conflict helped none, the workers, the managers or the factory owners. He highlighted that there should be complete harmony between the management and workers. Both should realize that each one is important. To achieve this, he asked the employees to accept willingly to embrace change for the good of the company. Both should be part of the family. Japanese work culture is classic example of such a situation. In Japanese companies, paternalistic style of management is in practice. There is complete openness between the management and workers. If at all workers go to strike, they wear a black badge but worker more than normal working hours to gain the sympathy of the management. Now look at this picture. I will explain here next principle of scientific management. It is cooperation, not individualism. According to this principle, F.W. Taylor suggested that there should be complete cooperation between the labor and the management instead of individualism. This principle is an extension of principle of harmony, not discord. Competition should be replaced by cooperation. Both should realize that they need each other. For this, management should not close its ears to any constructive suggestion made by the employees. They should be rewarded for their suggestion which results in substantial reduction in cost. They should be part of management, and if any important decisions are taken, workers should be taken into confidence. At the same time, workers should desist from going on strike and making unreasonable demands on the management. Now, I will explain here next principle of scientific management. It is development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. According to this principle, F.W. Taylor said that industrial efficiency depends to a large extent on personal competencies. He was of the view that the concern for efficiency could be built in right from the process of employee selection. Each person should be scientifically selected, then work assigned should suit his or her physical, mental and intellectual capabilities. To increase efficiency, they should be given the required training. Efficient employees would produce more and earn more. They will ensure their greatest efficiency and prosperity for both company and workers. Now, I will explain here various techniques of scientific management developed by F.W. Taylor one by one in details. Dear learners, look at this picture. It is functional foremanship. According to this technique, F.W. Taylor suggested that in the factory system, the foreman represents the managerial figure with whom the workers are in face-to-face contact on a daily basis. In the first chapter of the book, you have seen that the foreman is the lowest ranking manager and the highest ranking worker. He is the pivot around whom revolve the entire production planning, implementation and control. Thus, Taylor concentrates on improving the performance of this role in the factory setup. In fact, he identified a list of qualities of a good foreman or supervisor and found that no single person could fit them all. This prompted him to suggest functional foremanship through 8 persons. Taylor advocates separation of planning and execution functions. This concept was extended to the lowest level of the shop floor. It was known as functional foremanship. See this picture. Under the factory manager, there was a planning in charge and a production in charge. Under planning in charge, 4 personnel, namely instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk and a disciplinary worker. These 4 personnel would draft instruction for the workers, specify the route of production, prepare time and cost sheet, and ensure discipline respectively. Under production in charge, personnel who would work were speed boss, gang boss, repair boss, and inspectors. These respectively were responsible for timely and accurate completion of job, keep machines and tools etc. ready for operation, ensure proper working condition of machines and tools, and check the quality of work. Functional foremanship is an extension of the principle of division of work and specialization to the shop floor. Each worker will have to take orders from these 8 foremen in the related process or function of production. Foremen should have intelligence, tact, grit, judgment, special knowledge, manual dexterity, energy, honesty, and good health. Since all these qualities could not be found in a single person, so Taylor proposed 8 specialists. Each specialist is to be assigned worker according to his or her qualities. For example, those with technical mastery, intelligence and grit may be given planning work. Those with energy and good health may be assigned education work. Now, I will explain here another techniques of scientific management. It is standardization and simplification of work. Taylor was an ardent supporter of standardization. According to him, standardization refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity. It can be standardization of process, raw material, time, product, machinery, methods and working condition. These standards are the benchmark which must be adhered to during production. Simplification means eliminating superfluous varieties, sizes and dimensions. It aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity of products. It results in saving of cost of machines and tools. It implies reduced inventories, fuller utilization of resources and increasing turnover. Most large companies like Nokia, Toyota and Microsoft etc. have successfully implemented standardization and simplification. This is evident from their large share in their respective markets. I will explain here next techniques of scientific management. It is method study. According to this technique, F.W. Taylor said that the objective of method study is to find out one best way of doing the job. There are various methods of doing the job. To determine the best way, there are several parameters, right from procurement of raw materials till the final product is delivered to the customer. Every activity is part of method study. Ford Motor Company use this concept very successfully. Even now, auto companies are using it. The objective of the whole exercise is to minimize the cost of production and maximize the quality and satisfaction of the customer. Now, I will explain here next technique of scientific management. It is motion study. According to it, F.W. Taylor said that motion study refers to the study of movements like lifting, putting object, sitting and changing position etc., which are undertaken while doing a difficult job. Unnecessary movements are sought to be eliminated so that it takes less time to complete the job efficiently. Taylor used stopwatches and various symbols and colors to identify different motions. Now, I will explain here next technique of scientific management. It is time study. According to it, F.W. Taylor said that it determines the standard time taken to perform a well defined job. Time measuring devices like stopwatches are used for each element of task. The objective of time study is to determine the number of workers to be employed, frame suitable incentive schemes and determine labor cost. For example, on the basis of several observations, it is determined that standard time taken by the worker to make one cardboard box in 20 minutes. So, in 1 hour, she will make 3 boxes. Assuming that a worker had to put in 8 hours of work in a shift and deducting 1 hour for rest and lunch, it is determined that in 7 hours a worker makes 21 boxes. Now, this is the standard task a worker has to do. Wages can be decided accordingly. Now, I will explain here another techniques of scientific management. It is fatigue study. According to it, F.W. Taylor said that a person is bound to feel tired physically and mentally if he does not rest while working. The rest intervals will help one to regain stamina and work again with the same capacity. This will result in increased productivity. Fatigue study refers to determine the amount and frequency of rest intervals in completing a task. For example, normally a plant work takes place in 3 shifts of 8 hours each. Even in a single shift, a worker had to be given some rest intervals to take his or lunch, etc. If the worker involve heavy manual labor, then small pause have to be frequently given to the workers so that she can recharge his her energy level for optimum contribution. Dear learners, now I will explain here another techniques of scientific management. It is differential piecewise system. Taylor was a strong advocate of piecewise system. He wanted to differentiate between efficient and inefficient workers. The standard time and other parameters should be determined on the basis of the work study discussed above. The workers can then be classified as efficient or inefficient on the basis of these standards. He wanted to reward efficient workers. So, he introduced different rate of wage payment for those who perform above standard and for those who perform below standard. For example, it is determined that standard output per worker per day is 10 units and those who made standard or more than standard will get rupees 50 per unit and those below who get rupees 40 per unit. Now, an efficient workers making 11 units will get 11 multiplied by 50 equal to rupees 550 per day, whereas a worker who makes 9 units will get 9 multiplied by 40 equal to rupees 360 per day. According to Taylor, the difference of rupees 190 should be enough for the inefficient worker to be motivated to perform better. Did you understand the techniques of scientific management? Differential piecewise system? Excellent. I will explain here last technique of scientific management. It is mental revolution. According to this technique, F.W. Taylor said that it includes a change in the attitude of workers and management toward one another from competition to cooperation. Both should realize that they require one another. Both should aim to increase the size of surplus. This would eliminate the need for any agitation. Management should share a part of surplus with workers. Workers should also contribute their might so that the company makes profit. This attitude will be good for both of them and also for the company. In the long run, only workers' well-being will ensure prosperity of the business. Did you understand mental revolution and techniques of scientific management? Okay, student, nice learning. Finally, it can be concluded that if F.W. Taylor's principles and techniques of scientific management are widely applicable to managerial problems and have cast a profound impact on management thinking today. Dear learners, I hope that everyone is understood the entire topic of scientific management developed by F.W. Taylor. Am I right? Okay, good. Now in the end, I would like to thank everyone for supporting me in all manners. Thank to one and all once again.